Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? I hope everybody's enjoying their evening. I want to first off thank Dave, Nick, Mr. Bossity, and Mr. Malone for taking the time out of their busy schedules to help us out. I was pretty impressed about how everybody improved over the course of the summer, and I'm happy and excited to share my speech with you today, so I hope you enjoyed it. Gun shells laid at rest in the middle of streets. Stains of blood painted the sidewalks, and pieces of red tape still stuck to people's fences. Too often, this is what I witnessed daily walking around my neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. Drugs and gangs controlled every neighborhood I lived in, as well as the public school I attended through 8th grade. People, for as long as I can remember, had no choice but to adapt to this lifestyle, and sadly for most, become a part of it. We only know what we see. Although change is needed in my neighborhood, many fear it because of the uncertainty that it brings. The uncertainty of what life without everything that has been familiar to them will look like. In my neighborhood, and others alike, there are two things most people aspire to be: either a professional athlete or entertainer of some sort. It's rare to find someone with a backup plan. Most are never taught to have one, part of which is the lack of adult guidance, the failing school systems, and the negativity seen daily in their communities. Ball is life. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this 3-word phrase. For so long, this was my motto. I ate, slept, and breathed basketball. I was so committed to playing basketball that after each summer, I considered giving up my spot at camp to pursue my hoop dreams. I put in countless hours in the gym, made many sacrifices to fulfill my goal of being recruited to Division I school. I truly believed that basketball was all I had. It was my only way out, my only chance at providing a better life for my family and I. To be honest, for some time it was. It wasn't until I was awarded a Murphy Scholarship that I began to be exposed to worlds beyond my neighborhood streets. Many of my middle school classmates chose not to apply for this scholarship, and I never quite understood that. With time, I learned that most, including their parents, were afraid of the unknown and leaving behind everything that's home to them. Even my mother and I had second thoughts about sending me away to boarding school. The idea was simply foreign to us. No one in my family ever attended college, not to mention a private boarding school, so we did not know what to expect. However, if it was choosing between staying in Chicago for school or attending a prestigious prep school in Massachusetts, you better believe my mother was choosing that second option. All my life, my mother wanted nothing more for my siblings and me than to have a safe childhood. Therefore, she did her best to protect us from the violence that occurred outside the walls of our homes. It wasn't enough though. On May 24th, 2008, a day before my baby sister's first birthday, my younger brother Martrell was struck by a stray bullet. He was only 4 years old. Even my powerful mother could not protect us from this trauma. For a while, that night haunted me. I still vividly remember my mom pacing back and forth, screaming in awe, awaiting the ambulance arrival, and witnessing my younger brother being placed onto a stretcher. I was only 6. I could not even understand what had happened and why. All I knew was that my brother's life had been drastically changed in a matter of seconds it took for that bullet to travel through his body. Change, a concept that affects us all. A word that many fear because of its uncertainty. Change isn't easy whatsoever. You must first accept it, then adapt to it. My younger brother is one of the strongest people I know. At 4 years old, he couldn't understand why this had happened to him. Had he done something to deserve this? He wanted answers. I wanted answers. Martrell since has made the most out of his situation. He's accepted it and adapted. Now he's the #1 nationally ranked wheelchair basketball player for his age, an honor-roll student, a Murphy Scholar, is involved in many extracurriculars and more. The number of trials and tribulations I faced over the years never compared to what my younger brother went through. In comparison, they were trivial, but they all played a major role into molding me into the individual I am today. I've experienced much needed changes during my transition from public to private school. Initially, I was not too fond of being one of less than 30 African Americans at my high school. Coming from the South Side, I was accustomed to being one of many. Nonetheless, attending Brooks was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I was able to share my story with others that came from different backgrounds than me, and likewise, learn from theirs. I never felt more self-aware and connected to my roots and the world around me before attending Brooks. Similar to my alma mater, Camp Sankaty was a major change for me. Although I attended prep school in New England, I never even heard about Nantucket before hearing about Camp Sankaty. It was, and still is, challenging for me, being away from home so much during the school year, and now during the summertime. However, it sure beats being in Chicago for the summer, and turned out to be a great opportunity for my family and I. Not only was I able to receive a full tuition scholarship for college, I was able to learn about the game of golf that I still have a love-hate relationship with. Connect with an extraordinary membership daily while cruising the freshly trimmed fairways, and most importantly, creating long-lasting relationships with all my brothers here down at camp. Whoever said change was easy, it certainly can be beneficial if you make the most out of it. Life will throw curveballs at you in the blink of an eye, and things are bound to change sooner or later. How will you respond? For me, I believe that everything in life happens for a reason. And instead of fighting change, I would like to welcome it. If I didn't become open to change, and instead remain closed-minded and oblivious to the world outside my hometown neighborhood, all the wonderful opportunities I have now would have passed me by. When change comes knocking on your door, do not try to avoid it. Instead, open it up and embrace it. Yes, things will be different, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worst. You must keep an open mind about either of the two possibilities. Change is upon us. For many of us, we are quickly approaching our final days at Sankaty and spiraling towards the end of summer. Can you believe that? It seems like yesterday when I first arrived back at camp on June 15th, meeting and greeting familiar and new faces and gearing up for the next 9 weeks ahead. Now we're here. It's Tuesday, August 13th, 2019, banquet night. The summer is practically over, and it's almost time for all of us to part our separate ways. This time of the year is always sad because we're leaving behind something special, something we all hold a deep connection to, and that's Sankaty. Simultaneously, it brings joy and excitement as many of us are embarking new chapters in our lives. For those of you that are in my shoes, incoming college freshmen, we'll be beginning classes in a matter of a few days. If you're like a few of our beloved staff members here, this might be your last summer at camp, and a new chapter of your life is about to begin. Whether you're starting at a new school, moving into a new home, trying a new job position, finishing up your final summer at camp, and whatever else it may be, things will be different, and nothing's wrong with that. We are all about to experience the extremes of highs and lows in our lives if we haven't already. We must remember, it's all about how you rebound and respond in the face of change and adversity. Viktor Frankl, the late Austrian psychologist, once stated, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. So as we move forward with our lives, I challenge all of you, including myself, to embrace change. Be a student of it, learn from it, and make the most out of whatever circumstance you find yourself in, and continue moving forward. Thank you.